Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm going to be taking care of you today. What brings you in?
Hi, I was told to come here by Dr. Jones.
Mhm.
I have type 2 diabetes. I've been trying to lose weight all my life. I've always been overweight, and I just can't seem to lose weight.
Okay, I'm glad that Dr. Jones sent you, and me and him work very closely together. I'm a certified nutritionist, and so this is what this meeting is going to be about. We're going to set up a plan and see what maybe micro changes need to be added, or see what big changes need to be incorporated.
Okay.
Nothing big will happen after this meeting. This is just a getting to know you and what you eat and how we can possibly change that for the better.
Okay.
All right, and so when were you diagnosed with type 2 diabetes?
Since I was about 20 years old, so
Okay.
about 15 years ago.
Okay. So what diets have you tried previously, or what foods do you find yourself commonly reaching for?
I've never really tried any diets. I just feel like I eat kind of healthy.
Okay.
I eat a lot of rice, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of steak, a lot of meat, a lot of
Okay.
sausage. So I don't really drink a lot of water. I like soda, so that's probably the one thing I do that's kind of unhealthy.
Okay.
But I feel like I live a pretty healthy lifestyle. I have an active job. I work on a construction site, but I just can't
Okay.
seem to lose the weight.
So because you work at that job, that's definitely going to affect the food that we put into your system, because I want to make sure that you're fueled for that. After you eat meals, do you tend to feel tired, fatigued, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm always tired right after I eat, especially
Okay.
a big meal at night. I go right to bed.
Okay, so that might be partially just the foods that you're eating. Sometimes we see that foods that have that high fat concentration tend to leave you feeling more weak, and that can affect your job and just your daily life. Do you have any family history of diabetes or any other coronary heart issues?
Yeah, my dad had type 2 diabetes, and he died of
Okay.
a heart attack.
Okay. So we want to try and avoid that. So we're going to try and kind of cut the problem earlier instead of seeing it go along this way. And so then our first step, whenever we have these meetings, is to set up a nutrition log so that I can see what you are eating. All that I ask is for the first 3 days. So once you leave here, 3 days after this, I want you to write down everything you eat. And along with that, you don't have to worry about writing down the calories or the macros or anything like that. Just write down what you eat, write down roughly the portion size, and then I want you to keep track of how you feel after you eat as well.
Okay, that's easy enough.
And so if you feel tired and stuff, write down maybe how long it takes before you feel better. Incorporate what drinks you're having as well, / the portion size of that.
Okay.
When you come back in for another meeting, we're going to sit down. Me and my colleagues, we usually like to review it all together, and we're going to see what adjustments need to be made and see what foods we can keep in your diet, because I don't want you to have to go through an entirely drastic change, because that usually results in you going back to the diet you used to have or going back to the foods that aren't that good for you. We want to start incorporating small changes and make those ones turn into big changes.
Okay, how long do I need to do that for again?
3 days.
Okay, 3 days.
So go about your day. Don't worry about having to track every small detail of it. We just like to have a general concept of what your common foods are.
And you want me to eat normally?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to eat normally, so that way I can get an accurate track of what you're eating and kind of the taste that you have for foods, because obviously the meals that we're going to supplement them with, I want them to be to your liking. You know,
Right.
The meals that I like may not be the meals that you like, so I want to be able to incorporate the foods that you like.
Gotcha.
And so some of those small changes might be, you said you eat a lot of rice, maybe instead of reaching for the white rice, whole grain rice or wild rice is really good because it has that whole grains, which adds fiber into your diet. The white rice is completely stripped of a lot of the nutrients that it has. So small changes like that, where you can barely tell the difference, we're going to start off with those, and we're going to keep track of how you feel after those meals instead.
Okay, so I'm just a little bit nervous with the diet. That's going to be really boring food. How are you guys going to make?
So that's why we like to keep a lot of the food that you eat normally, so that we can try and still incorporate some of it, or at least the flavors that you like. We're going to try and bring that into the new diet plan. And then obviously after whatever meals you do eat, you can always tell us if you don't like them, and we can keep supplementing changes. That's what we're here for. I don't want you to get stuck into a boring diet. I don't want you to really think of it as a diet, but rather just a new semi-healthier lifestyle, because ultimately that's what's going to help you get back to your feet and feel better when you're at your job and better during your daily life. And so then my other concerns are, do you have a support system with you at home to help you either with these meals, or if you can find someone who, eats a little bit healthier, if you can start making meals with them. Sometimes it helps when you have someone else to be there when you're cooking, so that way you can share meals. You don't feel like you're eating all these meals alone. And, do you have someone like that?
I live with my wife. She has type 2 diabetes as well.
Okay.
So she didn't come today, but she's also thinking about changing up her meal plan.
Okay. And so if you find yourselves eating similar meals, you can even write on the side of your nutrition log like what she eats or what you guys tend to both reach for. Even if you go out to dinner, you can write down like where you prefer to go or what you prefer to get. because there's so many substitutes that you can make at home.
Okay.
And like you said, you like steak and you like your animal meat, but we can still incorporate those, but possibly not at the high percentage that you're eating them as now, because that fat concentration is what's going towards your weight increase.
How about the soda? Am I able to still have?
That again would have to be in a lot more of a moderation status. So, we usually tend to push water, even flavored water, seltzer, so you still have that carbonation effect. But soda is one of the biggest things that adds to your poor diet.
What about like diet soda?
So the diet sodas and the world of diet labeled things isn't really the best, because they usually tend to include other chemicals that are even worse for your body, and they affect your hormone rates. They affect how long your body holds on to your fat molecules. So we would like to stay away from those as well. We do have a bunch of substitutes here of like similar flavorings and stuff like that, but primarily I like to push water and seltzers and stuff like that. Okay. So you still get flavor. It's not as boring as water, but you at least are cutting out that soda. But for now, like I said, we'll just start, if you have it, Monday through Friday, we'll start doing it maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then we'll slowly cut it out. Like I said, I don't want to do any drastic changes, because that's when things usually tend to go south. And so then, do you have any concerns about either budgeting or how much the food costs or anything? Because we do have some plans for that as well.
As long as it's like similar to what I'm paying now, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
My main concern is just having a boring diet. I'm losing my soda, but hopefully I'm able to get used to it over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will. Like I said, I've seen so many people go through it, and those little micro changes tend to go unnoticed. And those micro changes turn into those bigger meals. And so the budget should remain the same if you're going to the grocery store and buying your produce and your food and stuff like that. My big usual change for people is to start going to local farmers markets and to buy fresh produce instead of a lot of things that we tend to reach for, which have been bagged and processed. We do work closely with some of them, so we'll send you some links, and we'll even send out some pamphlets or even some emails about when they start popping up.
Okay.
Do you have any other concerns besides just the diet change?
Is it going to help my overall health, like losing this weight?
It should help both your overall health and also how you feel daily. So that's one of the biggest changes I get from my patients, is that their change more so comes from within. They start feeling better at work. They start getting up easier. They start being able to go through the day without either having to take a nap or have to have coffee. They're able to actually get through their day without feeling that like tired and fatigued feeling. So that's why I want to see that nutrition log and how you feel after each meal, because then we can start pinpointing what foods make you feel good. And especially if you have that tiresome job, we want to make sure that you are fueled for it, because the last thing we want is for your body to shut down at work.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds definitely doable.
Okay. And so then, do you have any other questions for me?
Oh, I think I'm all good.
All right. So what's your first step to do when you go home?
Write down my meals for the next 3 days.
And then again, make sure you know how you feel after each one. You'll come back in with me. We'll sit down. I can even bring in some colleagues too. The next step after that is going to be starting to set up some bit of an exercise plan. But like you said, your job usually is pretty grueling, pretty tiresome. So we don't want to add too much on top of that, especially if that's how you're burning most of your calories during the day. But we can start incorporating that after we get the nutrition part sorted.
Okay, awesome.
Does that sound good?
Thank you very much.
No problem. Have a good one.